2021-2022 installation of officers and award ceremony. This is the first live in-person bar event since about 18 months now. So thank you for being here in person. I am so used to doing Zoom bar meetings and bar events, I had to find my suit pants tonight because I was wearing jeans when I started getting here.
How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
We're happy that you can all join us on a happy occasion to celebrate the services of not only our board members, but to congratulate some outstanding members of our league community. Marbi Burnette, I have some great Marbi stories. I don't know if I can tell them, we'll see. William Shernoff, Myrna Thomas, we'll be honoring Brandt tonight in his family. To Patty and all the family, thank you for being here. I also want to thank our harpist, Miss Laura Griffin Casey, for her beautiful music this evening. She's volunteered to serenade us through our dinner also. At this time, I'd ask Roderick Daly to come forward. Roderick is a lawyer in my office. He's also my nephew. And we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Rory's an Eagle Scout. He was an Eagle Scout, so I thought it would be appropriate for Rory to lead us. So you can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. Just for the record, only my mother and judges call me Roderick. Please call me Rory. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we're honored to have some very special guests and dignitaries. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce them to you at this time. We have several judges in attendance, and you can applaud for each one if you want, or if you want to hold it to the end, that's fine. Can you imagine being in the court every day in the last 18 months through this pandemic? Every day they show up and try to help with justice, so we're honored that they're here tonight. We start with the Honorable Kimberly Apulo. That was a very nice parade wave. The Honorable Martha Bellinger, retired. The Honorable Teresa Bennett. The Honorable Kyle Brody. The Honorable John Ferguson. The Honorable Brian Foster. The Honorable Janet Frangi, who is such a hard worker. She served on this board for many years and did an outstanding job. Thank you, Judge Frangi. The Honorable Craig Kamansky. Honorable Douglas Mann. Honorable Bridge McCann. Honorable Eli Barozzi, I know he's here. The Honorable Stanford Reichert. Stan, what time is it right now? Do you know? Thank you. One of our newest judges, the Honorable Rodrigo. Where is our judge? I saw him earlier. Our presiding judge, and he's got a countdown clock for sure. He made sure I knew that the other day. The Honorable Michael Sachs. Well, I will say this, when he was a lawyer for the county, he grind me down for only $5,000. I couldn't get my number. Thanks, Judge. The Honorable Stephen Singley. The Honorable Joseph Whiteman. Judge. The Honorable Glenn Yabuno. I want each of you to picture New Year's Eve at 23:59 p.m. Because on the stroke of midnight, Mike Sachs is going to be doing a little Irish dance as Glenn takes official reins as the presiding judge. That's a true story. I've been told that to you. The Honorable Lynn Ponson. We also have some officials and dignitaries. The Honorable Jason Anderson, San Bernardino County District Attorney. I don't get to say as a criminal defense lawyer good things about DAs often, but Jason Anderson is a wonderful person, you would be.
Thanks, Mike.
I mean that. San Bernardino County Board of Supervisor Chairman Kurt Hagman. Is Kurt here yet? Kurt, thank you for being here. And is Mayor John Valdivia here tonight from the... John, thank you for coming, Mayor. We appreciate it. City of San Bernardino. We have some past Western San Bernardino County Bar Association presidents here, and I want to thank them once again for their tireless efforts on behalf of this wonderful organization. James Banks Jr., Barry Brandt. Where's Barry? Thank you, Barry. Ryan Brandt. Thank you, Ryan. Is Don Dench here? Donald Dench? I haven't seen him. Tony Sears. Thanks, Tony. Angelique Bonanno. Where's Angelique? Hi, Angelique. And just a powerhouse on the board, this board and every other board. If anyone's involved in any not-for-profits, Dean McVeigh sitting at this table, table 2 in from the left second row, Dean McVeigh. My law school study partner, Diane Hartog. Fernando Vargas. Where's Justin King? Justin King. And our media past president and good friend, Will Wooten. We have some folks from our sister organizations. Deborah Lieberman, University of Laverne Law School President. Deborah. Is board member is Frank Rivera. Is Nara here? Frank? Malalife Rookie's favorite dean ever, Dean Kevin Marshall. John Lowenthal. And John Short. Is John here? John should become, he's the current San Bernardino County Bar President, got sworn in about 10 days ago. We have past bar president, James Heiding. Tim Heiding. Past Judicial Officer of the Year Award recipients are here. Honorable John Ferguson, Ryan Foster, Janet Frangi, Stanford Reichert, and Michael Sack. We have several past Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award recipients here. Charles Althouse, who's going to honor tonight. Jason Anderson. Sohaila Azizi, last year. Sohaila, please stand up. She had her virtual last year. Brian Brandt. Ricardo Echeverria. Ricardo, thank you. Bill is here. Michelle Elzali Daly, my sister-in-law. Where's Michelle? Michelle. Stephen Larson. Past Lifetime Achievement Awardees, present, Charles Althouse, James Banks Jr., and Bill Lemon. Where's Bill? Bill was also a virtual winner last year, and I'm glad to see him in person. Thanks for being here, Bill. And last but certainly not least, our past legal assistant of the year, my dear friend, and one of the strongest people I know, Connie Johnson. Where's Connie? We'd like to thank our sponsors because without them, we really couldn't put this shindig on. As you can see how the room looks beautiful tonight. The food's going to be amazing. The flowers look gorgeous. The colors are perfect for fall. And I think we're going to hit one of our, if not our highest number ever for sponsorship. Diamond sponsors, Officer David M. Goldstein. Thank you, Dave. Officer William D. Shapiro. Bill's going to be here tonight. He's in I think it's now month 3 of a roundup private liability case. We have the Marcanian Law Group. I just met everyone. Thank you. Get a chance, stop by and see them. They're moving into the Inland Empire, going to set up shop in New Kuiper. Good people. Rizio Lipinski, great sponsors always. Greg and Darren, can't thank you guys enough. Shernoff, the Dart, and Echeverria, thank you. Thank you. Leva, DZ, and Associates, thank you so much.
Can you reach it?
University of Laverne College of Law, thank you, Dean Marshall, and everyone from the university. Barner and Brandt, LLP, thank you. And as always, Wendy and Charmer Brooks, in honor of Jennifer. Platinum sponsor, the Paris firm, Eric D. Paris. Get a chance, try to talk to Eric. If you're a golfer, try to wrangle a weekend at his place in the desert in La Quinta. Gold sponsors, Lawson LLP, Officer Brian Brandt, Lewis Griswold Discard, and Smith LLP. Thank you. Silver sponsors, IBAMs, Officer Joyce M. Holcomb. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks, IBAMs. Officer Taylor B. Warner. Officer Justin H. King. And Matthew L. Taylor, receiver and partition referee. And for those of you who don't know, Matt Taylor is the brains behind the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. Him and Randy Hanna have been around forever doing a great job. I can't thank Randy and Matt Taylor enough. Thank you. And the Honorable Candace Garcia Rodrigo and the Honorable Arlo P. Rodrigo, thank you so much for your sponsorship. Very kind. Bronze sponsors, Office of Angelique Bonanno, thank you. Office of Diane M. Hartog, Officer Randy P. Hammer, and the San Bernardino County Public Attorneys Association, thank you so much. We have an anonymous sponsor, and my wife sponsored the Floral Pieces, and Laurel Stark from Stark Realty sponsored your table wine. Thank you so much. We have some promotion items we're giving out today. We've had a kind of rebranding a little. So we got some coffee mugs, some sanitizers, mouse pads. We'll give some out. You'll win it later, prizes. And we want to thank everyone who helped with that. Hobbs Law Group, my office, Taylor Warner, Justin King, Matthew Taylor, Eric Paris and his firm. At this point, we're going to recess. You're starting your salad, we'll get the meal out, and we'll be back at around 7:10 p.m. to do our ceremony. Thank you. Have your attention. I hope everyone's enjoying their dinner. I think they're starting the dessert course, and we're going to start back with our program. I would like one last time to ask everyone to give a round of applause for our harpist, Ms. Laura Griffin Casey. Thank you. We have a little official business we have to take care of. Normally, we vote for the incoming officer board and directors and our officers at the annual East meets West MCLE. Due to the pandemic, we did not have the ability to do that this year. So this is for all the members of the association. The nominating committee has recommended the following officers and directors for the board. For president, Michael Scaffidi. President-elect Kareem Arif. Kareem is here. Vice President Taylor Warner. Secretary-Treasurer Matt Taylor, and our immediate past President Will Wooten, Director at Large Angela Bonanno, Christina Bernheim, David Ricks, Dean McVeigh, Diane Hartog, Eric Paris, Fernando D. Vargas. Actually, Fernando is going to be Fernando Vargas, Justin King, Kevin Marshall, Kristen Hobbs, Kimberly Apulo, Kyle Brody, Lauren Vaught, D-O-A-T-T, and Randy Hanner, and finally Rebecca Perkins. All in favor of adopting the slate of candidates, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Gotta ask that. We're good. So welcome up. We have our 2021-2022 officers and board of directors. At this time, I'll be calling up the following officers and board of directors to receive their certificates. Once they're all up here, we'll have the Honorable Michael Sachs come up and administer the oath of office. Kareem Arif. Kareem. Taylor Warner. Matthew Taylor. Will Wooten. Justin King. Christina. Fernando Vargas. Angelique Bonanno. Honorable Kyle Brody, Secretary. Judge Brody. Judge Brody was telling me how he lost an election to Brandt for Upland City Council. Oh, that's good. Diane Hartog. And we have Dean McVeigh coming up after that. David Ricks. Oh, David's here. Randy Hanna. Darren Lipinski, I don't think Darren can make it tonight. Kevin Marshall. I won the flip from Malloy to give this to you. It's a big fight. Next up is Kristen Hobbs. Eric Parrish. He told me I have to say every time I say Parrish. Though I told him I will not call him the starting guard for the LA Lakers. Kimberly Apulo. And I know that. And I knew her before all the babies. Rebecca Perkins. If I can have Judge Sachs come forward. Oh, also, if we have Lauren Book come up. Where's Lauren? There she is. Incoming board member. Approved unanimously. Get every vote.
Where?
That is.
All right, so I'm going to read you a note, unlike your lawyer or judge. You don't have to repeat that. Then, after I'm finished, all you need to do is say either I do or I don't. All right? All right, thank you very much. Raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm to uphold your duties and responsibilities as officers and directors of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, being mindful of your roles as representatives of your membership as officers of the court and as attorneys dedicated to the service of the public and the legal system? Say, I do.
I do.
All right, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. Our immediate past president, Will Wooten, has some words to impart on everybody. Will?
When my term as the president of the Bar Association came to an end, I knew we were in very good hands with Mike Scafidi coming in as the new president. Let's all give him a big hand. That's great. I can't tell you, Mike and Darlene has been so special to me and my family. And to have him as a president that has succeeded me as a president, I couldn't ask for a better guy. And he's given 100%. He took over in the middle of the pandemic. A lot of things we used to do, we couldn't do as far as like meeting in person like we are tonight. Mike's taken this organization, he's run with it. He's had great ideas. He's handled the meetings phenomenally. He's given great ideas with everything he's done. We look forward to having him as our president again for the coming year. It's been a tough time with the pandemic, so we wanted to join Mike again for the coming year. So Mike, on behalf of the board and membership, we thank you for all you've done, and we look forward to another year with you as our president. Thank you. wife, and I'd like to start hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you to the board of directors, and thank you for everyone being here. They've asked if I could say a few words, and the truth is, I'm going to keep it very short because I want to see all our award recipients and the people who are going to speak about them have enough time to do that. I would say this, it is a great honor to work with all the men and women of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. It's a great honor to work with Lindsay, our executive director. Where's Lindsay? Lindsay put this event together. She has made every note I'm supposed to say. And she tells me stay on task. So I greatly appreciate it. We couldn't be here without Lindsay, so one more round of applause for Lindsay. Thank you. I just want to say this. Being a lawyer has been a second career for me. I was a police officer and a police sergeant, tore my knees up. All I had done my whole adult life was police. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I remember going to my wife, Darlene, who we're now married for 43 years. Or as she says, it seems longer. And I remember telling her, I said, she goes, what are you going to do now? I said, you know, I think I'm going to be a lawyer. And she looked at me and she said, you think? Maybe? So that was the start of my foray into law. I went to California Southern Law School in Riverside on a strip mall in Riverside. Unaccredited school. You had to take the baby bar. Thankfully I passed. I did well in school. It's a little school that could. Got a lot of judges that started there. A lot of really good lawyers. And every test I took, I didn't know if I'd pass or fail. Never thought I'd be good enough. I had my wife and family support. My son Anthony just became a lawyer 6 weeks ago. My daughter Megan, who's living in Denver, she still works in my office. She's a lawyer. And I had the privilege, after Anthony was sworn in, to go on the record with myself, my daughter Megan was in town, and my son. We all made appearances on a case in front of Judge Don Alvarez. And needless to say, that reported transcript of the appearances is hanging in my office. What I really want to say to everyone is, it doesn't matter what law school you went to. It doesn't matter where you grew up. It doesn't matter what you went through. It's about what you make with your opportunities. How hard do you want to work? And for me, even as a police officer, young police officer, who Michelle Daly would prosecute cases that I was on, Dave Goodrich, who we're going to talk about later, John Coaches, I saw John, where's John? John Coaches in the back. And I learned from them, and I learned from some pretty good defense attorneys. Joe Canty, Jim Hazen, Dave Nagus, may he rest well. And I learned that if you're honorable, honest, work hard, and treat yourself to be an honorable professional, respect the entire system of justice, care about your clients, and care about everyone you come into contact in the court, and you want to leave them in a better place, that it's pretty simple to do a good job as an attorney. It starts right here. And I hope that everyone who's had an opportunity to read my monthly President's Messages, you will see that I always end, be safe and well, and always work well and care. Practice holistic lawyering. Practice compassionate lawyering. You get so much by doing that. I can't tell you how much you get back. Do that. You'll love it. You'll love every minute. I love every minute of being a lawyer, especially when I meet old friends in court like Dave Goldstein. He still tries to elbow me. Yes. Because he can't help it, can't help himself. So my message to everyone in the room is tonight, thank you for being here. Thank you for helping your clients. Thank you for helping our society. And thank you for helping our system of justice, because that's what we do. Lawyers are truly leaders of our society. So thank all of you. Earlier tonight, I introduced our last year's award winners. I'd like to do it again so they can really appreciate being here and being honored. Connie Johnson, our legal assistant of the year. Connie, thank you so much for everything you do for your clients. Our Lifetime Achievement Award last year, Bill Lemon. Bill, thank you. Truly a lifetime of great work. Bill sits on about 20 different not-for-profit boards and is just a leader not only in our San Bernardino legal community, but our entire Inland Empire community. Thank you, Bill. And our last year's Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year, Sohail Aziz. Thank you so much. If you attended last year by Zoom, they were partying at her house. At this time, it's time to present this year's Legal Assistant of the Year Award. The award is given each year to a legal assistant who exhibits the utmost in professionalism, experience, assistance not only to his or her employer, but also to our legal community, who goes above and beyond the call of duty. There were many fine candidates this year that the board had to go through and vote on that were considered for this award. But one stood out above the rest, and I am greatly pleasured and happy for this lady's award. I'm going to invite Judge Stephen Singley up to say a few words about this year's recipient, Myrna Thomas.
Well, good evening. It's quite an honor to be able to share a couple words about Ms. Thomas. Just watching her squirm right now, actually, is the best part. I'm pleased to see that she's getting this award. And as you guys know, it takes a community to make a department work. And in Department 47, it's really Ms. Thomas who's the glue that kind of holds our family together. And you know, when you see the work that judicial assistants do, it's astonishing to see the multitasking frenzy that takes place. I mean, she can be talking to a lawyer in front of her who's checking in on a case who may or may not have filed a substitution of attorney. I mean, it happens. At the same time, you know, answering phone calls from attorneys who are running late. It happens. And at the same time all this is happening, I'm too inconsiderate to notice that she's busy and I'm making orders, so she's listening to me and typing her minutes in real time. It's a thing of beauty. But, you know, Mike, you talked about lawyering compassion, and I think the same is true for being a legal assistant or a judicial assistant. And those of you who have the privilege of working with Myrna know, above all, that she's got a big heart. She has a tremendous work ethic, but she cares. And when I was trying to think about the best way to explain Myrna to those of you who haven't had the privilege of appearing in front of her, I think what I'm going to do is invite you sort of behind the curtain for a second and show you some of the things that she has in her workstation. She has these various post-it notes, little trinkets and signs, encouraging words and words of affirmation and words of frustration that she doesn't have to say, she can feel, so she doesn't put her foot in her mouth. So I think if I just read a couple of these to you, you might get a sense for the type of person that she is. And so bear with me while I Right. Don't worry, I've vetted him. Yeah. So she has a couple post-it notes, and these are really things that other people have written to her. One of them just says, you're amazing, thank you, written by an attorney. Another one is, killing it, and so, she does that on a daily basis. But there's one that I insist that she keeps in front of her at all times, and it simply says this. It says, think it, feel it, don't say it. She follows that advice sometimes. For those of you who don't do family law, I'm sure everybody can imagine, it gets some pretty emotional cases and, people going through some very, very difficult times. Emotions run high. There's a lot of self-represented litigants that we have to deal with, and so, it gets pretty tense at times. And so for those times, she has a little sign that says, on bad days, there's always lipstick. She has another one that just says, not today, Satan. Not today. And then in our courtroom, we have some beach pictures and stuff, and she has a little sign that says, life is better at the beach. So, a little escape place when things get tough. She has a couple that she keeps just to affirm herself, and this might give you a little sense of the type of person she is. There's one that says, she leaves a little sparkle wherever she goes. And so I think that's very fitting. She has another one that says, be a stiletto in a room full of flats. For those really, really difficult days, she has a little placard that has a picture of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland screaming at the top of her lungs, off with their heads! She doesn't say that one, that's why she just looks at it. This one I think is probably for colleagues, and myself included. She says, you don't have to be crazy to work here, we'll train you. She's doing a good job with me. Yeah. This one, I'm absolutely convinced, is really just for me. It simply says, she who must be obeyed. I try. But she really takes pride in her work. She has very high expectations. In fact, sometimes I tell her, Myrna, maybe if you just lower those expectations a little bit, you might get along okay. And she can just point to a sign that says, keep your heels and your expectations high. Anyway, that's a little bit about Myrna. I'm very pleased to see that y'all have honored her with this award. I think it's well deserved. Obviously, I'm a little biased. It's the only time I'm going to admit that, but I do think it's well deserved. So, congratulations, Myrna. We're very proud of you. And it's been an honor to work with you.
I've been with the courts for 25 years, and by far, Judge Singley has been an amazing judge to work for. I worked for a lot of judges. I've covered in a lot of departments, but it's really been an honor to work for him, and thank you, everybody.
Before we present the first of tonight's 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, we decided at the Board of Directors of the Western Seminole County Bar Association that it would be important to place a name attached to the Lifetime Achievement Award. Obviously, the Lawyer of the Year, we have Jennifer Brooks. And we were thinking, and it literally took seconds, and everyone started saying, Charles Althouse. Charles has been a Jennifer Brooks Award recipient. He's received the Lifetime Achievement Awards. He served honorably on this board. He's been a leading member of our legal community for over 40 years, more than 40 years. I told you I say 40, but I know it's more. If he was an actor, he'd have the EGOT. Okay, he'd have it all. He'd have the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, the Tony. And when we were talking about Charles and attaching his name to this wonderful honor, what people were saying, they were talking about him around the great work he's done as a lawyer, the great service to our community. And I didn't get to see Charles a lot in court, but I got to talk to him at a lot of events. And for me, he's a lifetime achievement human being. He is the kindest man I've ever met. He is scholarly. He has passion for life. He's got a great wine room. Thousands of bottles of good wine. Okay? And so, Charles, on behalf of everyone at the Board of Directors, everyone in our legal community, thank you. Thank you for being such an iconic lawyer and a role model for all of us. Thank you. Our first recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award tonight, it's going to Brandt. Brendan's family is here, wife Patty, Brian and Barry, and the entire family. I just want to say, before we bring up Brian and Barry to talk, that I didn't get to have a lot of one-on-one contact with Brendan, or I like to call him Mr. Brandt. But I did have an opportunity to somewhat appear in front of him as he sat on the board of directors for the San Bernardino County Retirement Board. And I was representing a deputy sheriff who was injured, and we had a personal injury case component to it, settled that. And I learned, and I didn't know this, that you can't just get the retirement. You got to put it in. You can't make it part of the deal. And so she originally was denied, and we went to appeal, and we got in front of the board. And it's pretty intimidating because it's kind of a semicircle. There's like 12 or 13 board members. And I'm looking to see if I know anyone. And I knew a few people. I knew Lou Farino, the chairperson. And then I spot Mr. Brandt. And I thought, well, this is not going to go good. And so I give this impassioned argument about my client going through the day she signed up. She did her application for the sheriff's department. And I go through the whole thing. And it took like 20, 30 minutes. And they start asking questions. And finally, Mr. Brandt's attorney looks right at me. And he says, well, counsel, why did you get this all done in the PI case? I said, it's a great question. That's what I thought I could do, but I couldn't. And then he just started peppering me with questions. I was looking to object, but there was no judge to object to. And I thought, thank God this is not a deposition. And I'm sitting in there and defend it. That was my one-on-one contact with him. And I'm proud to say that every board member, I'm sure led by him, voted to give my client a retirement. So I owe him, my client was a great debt. So he tragically left us, very unexpected. I'm going to have his family talk about him. At this time, if it's okay, I'll ask all the family members who want to come up. I know that Brian and Barry are going to talk to him. Please come up.
Wow. First of all, This is not the way I wanted to be celebrating my brother's well-deserved award tonight. But thank you all for being here, and it's a great honor that you've asked us in the family to be here and to accept it on his behalf. Having known both Chuck, where are you, buddy? There you are. I've known you for 50 years. Your house in Mount Baldy as a kid, and also knowing my brother well. Brendan is truly a deserving recipient of this award. Those of you that knew Bren will remember him not only for his legal acumen and achievements, but also his mischievous grin. And like Chuck, he always appreciated a good laugh and a cold martini, as well as some good red wine, right, Chuck? Bren's work ethic, talent, and honesty led him to found and become senior partner of one of the largest, most successful defense firms in the Inland Empire, where he ruled with an iron fist for nearly 25 years. Actually, you knew my brother. A harsh demeanor was one of the last things anyone would say he ever had with his employees or anyone that knew him. So many of his colleagues, employees, and those that knew him have approached me and told me what an approachable and non-lawyerly lawyer he was. Someone whose door was always open, that they could sit down in his office and share any problem they had. What was going on with the office, a judge, another attorney, or something that was just going on with their family. He was there to listen. Brendan, like many of us here, was a litigator, but he was well known as a consummate litigator. He was always prepared. He was always on time. Those of you who had practiced in front of Judge Kayashima before know how important it was to be on time. His pleadings were always flawless, and he was always the best prepared attorney in the courtroom. He was fearless in his depositions. He was most definitely not willing to give an inch on behalf of his clients, but he was fair with his opponents. He was courteous with court personnel, and he was always respectful of the judges he appeared before. Like all great litigators, he worked very hard, but he also knew how to play even harder. And for those of you that didn't know, he was an exceptional runner. He competed in several marathons at a very high level, which led him to qualify not once but twice for the Boston Marathon. It was during training for one of those, the most recent Boston Marathon, that he passed. Those of you that lived with us in Upland for some 50 years or so would often see him running up Euclid Avenue almost every morning before work. If he wasn't there, you could also find him hunting, skiing, sometimes fishing, enjoying the outdoors. And if not there, you might have found him at the pool at the Wynn in Las Vegas. Being a lawyer was just one of the hats that Brendan wore in his life. He also was an amazing husband to his wife Patty of 31 years. He was a dedicated father to his 3 very successful children. And he was also a lifelong public servant, which is where, once again, I see him following in this award, what Chuck emblemizes for all of us here. He was a multiple city council member, served multiple terms, school board member, served on numerous school boards and other organizations. and he was tireless in giving of his time. Like Chuck, Brendan was well loved, well appreciated, and an inspiration to so many of us. And for that, he will be greatly missed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Brendan was heroic. He, his wife Patty, and a friend of theirs were seated in the third row when the shooting started in Las Vegas. The woman directly in front of them had her head blown open. Brendan threw Patty and their friend to the floor and lay across their bodies to protect them. He later rolled them out and under a truck while the shooting continued. Over 400 killed. He called me from under that truck, and I could hear the shooting. He was kind. Oh, he was kind. When they were quite young, his sister Pam had a bad case of the shingles. And it was very painful for her. He gently picked her up, brought her downstairs, placed her carefully on a couch where she was comfortable, and fixed some cinnamon toast for her. Pam told me last night that she still fixes cinnamon toast for her kids in honor of Brandt. He was smart. We mentioned he was on this committee investing the San Bernardino County employees' trust funds, and he, along with his fellow members, had control over hundreds of millions of dollars. He was loyal. Some of you may remember that Mayor Pomersky, when Brendan was on city council, and Mayor Pomersky was indicted for embezzling $25,000. Brendan went to Pomersky and said, "Why didn't you tell me you needed some money? I could have helped you." He was practical. He used to say, there's only 52 Fridays in a year. Never waste one. And that included martinis. Back in the 20s and 30s, there was a famous group of wits and learned people, Dorothy Parker, Clifton Fadden were part of it. And when one of their members passed away after being married for 58 years, this fellow member sent a telegram to the bereaved that said, "You lucky son of a bitch to have spent 58 years with that magnificent woman." I had 57 years, boy and man, with Brendan. That makes me a lucky son of a bitch. People comfort me by telling me their own stories of loss, and it is comforting. And they share their stories. I want to close with some remarks about a dear friend of mine, lived a full life, died 2 years ago at age 95. Remarkable man, Norm Hatkey. At 24 years of age, he was national head of the Dale Carnegie Association. And Norm had a saying that he preached and he practiced. And he said, "Always treat the other person as though their heart is broken, because it probably is." Thank you.
second Lifetime Achievement Award tonight is going to a legendary lawyer at a legendary firm. Before I invite Kurt, Supervisor Hagman up, and Mayor Olivia and Ricardo, just want to tell our own personal story about Bill Shernoff and his firm. So back in 1999, Mike Bernardino was trying a case in San Bernardino on behalf of Deputy DA Dave Goodrich's family, and in front of Judge Chris Warner. I'll never forget that. I was a fairly new lawyer, and I was helping Doug Weathers. Remember Fisher Weathers, the Eating, then Honorable Doug Weathers, and of course Mac Fisher and Steve. And Doug said, "Hey, come watch trial." So I did. And on the day Doug's verdict came out, almost within minutes of Mike Bernardino's verdict. And I remember going with Doug afterwards. It was a plaintiff's verdict on both cases, of course. And I remember going with Doug over to, I think it was Jersey's. There was a bar over there on Court Street. It was after Court Street West. And Doug is going up to the bar, and Bill Shapiro's coming over. And Doug is telling everyone that today, out of this courthouse, Mike Bernardino and me took $120,100,000. Of course, Mike took $120 million and Doug took $100,000. But it felt pretty good standing next to him when he said that, I have to say it. So every once in a while I'm talking to an adjuster, and I think they're not being really good faith. I say, "Listen, don't let me call Bernard. Don't let me do it. Don't let me call Ricardo." And of course I say Bill, I don't say Mr. Shernoff. Like I know him well, I don't. Myself, don't let me call Bill. So I don't know if it's made my clients any money, but I sure like telling that story. And I sure like knowing great lawyers from the Shernoff firm. So that's my little story about that wonderful firm. At this time, I would invite San Maria County Supervisor Kurt Hagman up to say a couple words.
Good evening, everybody. It's a great honor for me to be here. Thank you for inviting. I'm kind of laughing to myself. One of the things, I've been elected for over 20 years now, and one of the things I try not to do is follow a very articulate politician before me, because you don't sound as good afterward. I got to add to the list a lot of articulate litigators and attorneys in this room here tonight, because you guys did a fantastic job. And it's fun to be part of this. I want to thank you on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, and generically, it's been a rough couple of years for everybody in this county. And to know our legal system is sound, and that we're able to adapt and overcome the challenges that we all faced through the pandemic, and the changes from Zoom court to, putting things off and all this, means that we're all working together. And I want to thank you just to all of you in this room and to the organization for having such a great job doing this over the time period. So with that, we do have a presentation, and want to thank you for the opportunity to present this. And the first one I have is for William Shernoff. Bill, and thank you so much. William has sought to renew mutual cooperation with local bar association and encourage the bar association programs which benefit both the legal profession and the public at large for the San Bernardino County courts. He's often called the pioneer of bad faith insurance law. He's a nationally recognized trailblazer in the field with decades of experience representing individual and businesses insurance consumers. The Board of Supervisors and San Bernardino County recognizes and commends William Shernoff for being named Charles Althouse Lifetime Achievement Award recipient of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. Thank you, William, for your contributions to communities and the county. Congratulations. I hope the county's not on the other side of this thing all the time, too. But, and so come on up, Phil.
get you back up. At this time, I'll invite the mayor of San Bernardino, John Valdivia, to come up, John.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a delight and honor to be here. On behalf of the city of San Bernardino, I see a fantastic crowd of attorneys and assistants, and our city is on the comeback. We just really excited about the opportunity for San Bernardino International Airport as we seek partnership and collaboration with Ontario Airport. I'm very excited to share the platform with our supervisor, Kurt Hagman, who is also doing some fantastic work as chairman of the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. And this is a great opportunity for our community to collaborate regionally, especially with Ontario Airport. Tonight, I'd like to present this certificate on behalf of the city of San Bernardino. Mr. Shernoff, Bill, would you join me, please? Come back up if you would. Sir, it's a delight to join and honor you, the Charles Althouse Lifetime Achievement Award. On behalf of the city of San Bernardino, we do celebrate the great work that you've done in your profession, and we honor you tonight, sir.
So do you want to sit in the good chair up here and wait? You want to sit right here? You got the right shoes for going up and down. I wish I wore those. Yeah. At this time, I invite up Ricardo. Ricardo.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to be here. I've had the privilege of knowing and working with Bill Shernoff for 30 years, and I've been a lawyer for 28. I was a clerk for 2 years before I became a lawyer, and it's the only place I've ever worked, and the only mentors I've ever had were Bill Shernoff and Mike Bedard. And talk about being the luckiest person in the room, that would be me. And I remember in law school when my torts professor found out that I was going to be going to work for Bill Shernoff, he wanted my autograph. My torts professor did. I heard the term described about Bill as being a pioneer, a trailblazer. And folks, that term could not be more fitting for a lawyer than Bill Shernoff. You see, because there's a lot of great trial lawyers, which Bill Shernoff, no question is, and there's a lot of great students of the law, but rare do you find that deadly combination that is Bill Shernoff, that is not just a great trial lawyer, but is an extremely astute student of the law. Many of you don't know that Bill Shernoff was born in Wisconsin, in Crivitz, Wisconsin. Grew up on a dairy farm. That's one of the things, common denominators, that all three of us partners, Bill Shernoff, Mike Bedard, who couldn't be here because he's on vacation in Europe right now, and myself. All three of us are kids that grew up on dairy farms, and Bill grew up in the Midwest, dairy farm kid. Went to University of Wisconsin Law School, and then came here to California, settled in the Inland Empire, and started working with the legendary Herb Half. It didn't take long for Bill to go on his own, but one of the things that's so special and sets Bill Shernoff apart from really any other lawyer that I know is that he's the only lawyer I know that is credited with creating a tort. Creating the tort of insurance bad faith. And there's many lawyers in this room, plaintiff and defense, and they'll all agree Bill Shernoff created the tort of bad faith. Started here in California, and he spread it throughout the country. And it started, folks, with a simple disability case in 1974. A case called Egan versus Mutual of Omaha. And it was a case where the insurance company was denying a roofer's claim when he fell off a ladder and denying his disability benefits, saying it's limited to 3 months because it was a sickness, not an accident. And Bill Shernoff gets this file and says, that's outrageous. And he takes that case, takes it to trial right here in the Inland Empire in Pomona at the courthouse. Tries that case under a $45,000 benefit case, and he proves that the conduct of that insurance company was malicious, oppressive, fraudulent, despicable. And I've read the transcripts, and it really reads like poetry, the closing argument that Bill Shernoff gave for why that conduct needed to be punished. And he got a legendary jury in 1974, 47 years ago, for $5.1 million in punitive damages. 47 years ago. That would have been extraordinary on its own. But let me tell you what makes it legendary and why Bill Shernoff is a pioneer and not just a great trial lawyer. 5 years later, Bill Shernoff argues that case to the California Supreme Court. He argues it personally, and guess what? It came out with a published opinion, Egan versus Mutual of Omaha, which is still the most heavily cited case in insurance benefits. It's been cited over 6,000 times. It is the granddaddy case. And that really started Bill Shernoff working on other cases, and a couple others I'll mention. A couple years later, tried a case for Elmer Norman, who had a $48 dispute with his insurance company. Had a homemade hearing device, and Bill Shernoff takes the case and discovers the patterns and the practices of this insurance company. And guess what? Gets a $4.5 million punitive damage award in 1976. And he later handled a case for the government of American Samoa. This is an island, a U.S. territory, 2,300 miles southwest of Hawaii. And their biggest concern is hurricanes. And they bought a policy in Los Angeles to insure them for $35 million of damage to government property for hurricanes. Well, as it would happen, a hurricane hit and destroyed the island. And they made a claim, and the insurance company on a hurricane policy says, well, we'll cover the wind damage, but we don't cover the wind-driven rain damage. And Shernoff says, where in the world have you heard of a hurricane that doesn't have water associated with the wind? He took it down to its simple. They had an army of time-basis lawyers from Chicago, Baker McKenzie, working up the file. And they bring it to who? Right here in Claremont, Bill Shernoff, to try that case, because he could tell that story. And boy, did he. He got an $86 million verdict for the government of American Samoa. That included $57 million in punitive damages, because he knew how to talk to a jury, and he knew what the rules were that insurance companies had to follow, and he knew they didn't follow it. Perhaps the case that Bill is most proud of, and one of my most proud cases, because I got to work on it 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I think it was. And that was the effort for Holocaust victims making life insurance claims. And we had the case of the Stern family. Adolf Stern, who in 1939, their family was in Hungary. And they were in the business of selling, wine and liquor throughout Eastern Europe. They were a Jewish family, successful. And Adolf Stern was the eldest son. And he called his father after selling a lot of their product throughout Eastern Europe and said, I have all this money. What do you want me to do with it? And his father, who knew what was kind of coming, said, go to the life insurance company Generali. We have life insurance policies. Pay down on those life insurance policies. And so Adolf Stern did. He was a 20-year-old young man. And it wasn't long, 4 years later, when the entire Stern family was captured and taken to Auschwitz. Adolf Stern, Bill Shernoff and I were in the room when he gave the testimony under oath. He witnessed his father, his mother, his young bride, his 1-year-old son, separated from him and taken to the gas chamber to be murdered. He was only 22 at the time. He was spared because he was a young, hardworking young man. He was liberated in 1945, and he had nothing. But he knew he had an insurance policy, and he went to the Generali office to make a claim, and they laughed at him. So where's your death certificate? Hitler didn't give out death certificates, and he was denied. Now you fast forward to bring the story to today. It was 1996. The Stern family was having a reunion, and Adolf Stern, who's up there in years at this point, is recounting the story. And his nephews and his nieces heard it, and they thought it was ridiculous. It was astonishing to them. And so they started this movement to hold these insurance companies accountable for denying these claims of Holocaust victims for life insurance. And guess where they came? Right here to Claremont, to Bill Shernoff, to do that case. And I remember when we took the case, Bill Shernoff said, this is going to be a really difficult case. But you know what? We're going to do it, and we're going to win. You got a huge problem with statute of limitations. It's 50 years ago. Huge problem with jurisdiction. What does California have to do with what happened in Eastern Europe? Well, we could take care of that. We talked to the legislature and got the Holocaust Victims Insurance Act passed, extending the statute of limitations, allowing jurisdiction here in California for those cases. And I'll never forget the moment Bill Shernoff and I were in front of Florence Marie Cooper in downtown LA. She was a Superior Court judge at the time. Him and I on one side, and an army of scattered arms lawyers on the other side from New York fighting us, and the court find there is jurisdiction, it's within statute of limitations, and I'm setting a trial date in 9 months. That one case that started with Bill Shernoff's determination led to class actions being filed in New York and LA and throughout the country. It led to the US government getting involved in an international commission. And you know what it ultimately ended up with? A fund, a settlement fund of $5 billion that went to Holocaust victims throughout the country because of Bill Shernoff. So I'll close with a couple comments. You know, if you don't know Bill Shernoff, what you see is what you get. Even though his initials are BS, Bill Shernoff is incapable of BS. He'll tell you if you're right, and he'll tell you if you're wrong, and he'll tell you why, to your face. That's the beauty of Bill Shernoff. As I said, there's a lot of great trial lawyers, and there's a lot of great students of the law, but boy, is it rare to find that deadly combination, and that's what makes Bill Shernoff a pioneer. So folks, join me in honoring Bill Shernoff as the Charles Althouse Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Thank you so much.
Wow. It's nice to have somebody like Ricardo to introduce you. He does exaggerate a little bit, but that's okay. First of all, I want to thank the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association for this award, and to Chuck Althouse for the naming of the award. I'm very grateful for it. When I was first told I was going to get a Lifetime Achievement Award, I started reflecting on my legal lifetime, and I realized, you know, I graduated, as Ricardo said, in University of Wisconsin, but that was in 1962. So next year, will be my 60th year of continuously practicing law. That's really 2 lifetimes. So I'm pretty lucky guy to be involved in the practice of law. I got started early on this journey of insurance bad faith and trying to develop a new tort. And Ricardo mentioned the Egan case, which I did try in 1974, and it took 5 years to get to the California Supreme Court. And they're really the ones that created the tort of insurance bad faith. I just pushed it along and kept writing articles about it, giving seminars about it, writing books about it, trying cases about it. But what a lot of people don't know is where my journey really started was right here at Western San Bernardino County, because before the Egan case in 1971, I was trying a lot of cases in the Ontario courthouse. I was down there all the time, trip and fall, slip and fall, whiplash. Along in 1971 came a case called Otis Drake, who had a disability policy. And in those days, they had a clause in your disability policy, you had to be house confined. And Drake was a farmer from Chino. He had emphysema, could hardly walk. He could walk maybe a couple blocks, enough to go out to his mailbox to get the mail. And they took a picture of him out by his mailbox and said, "You're not house confined, so we're not going to pay you." And I thought, boy, you know, this cries out for a remedy. So we took that case in Ontario, that was the start of my journey, in front of the Honorable Henry Bush, who was the presiding judge at that time. I'm sure most of you probably don't even remember Henry Bush, but he was looked like a typical judge and acted like a typical judge, a true gentleman. And we got a verdict of $350,000, and I pled that as a bad faith case. There was no law of bad faith, and that really was the start of it. That case, they paid it, and they didn't appeal it, so there was no precedent set by that case. But as far as I'm concerned, my journey developing this law of insurance bad faith started right here in Western San Bernardino in the old Ontario courthouse. So I have a good feeling about Western San Bernardino, and I'm very grateful for this award. It takes me back to those memories of a long time ago. I'll just mention one thing about the Holocaust cases, because that was really a challenge. When you think about it, it was a foreign insurance company called Generali, an Italian company. The insurance policies were written in a foreign language. The benefits were in foreign currency. We had to try to get jurisdiction over them, and they had great lawyers and great arguments and said, look, we don't do any business in California. How can you have jurisdiction over it? And we lucked out because we did a search of the courthouse records in California and found out that Generali had availed themselves of the California courts by suing 13 times in California. And they submitted an affidavit to the court without knowing that I had this evidence, that they never sued in California. And when the judge read their affidavit and saw the actual cases that they had filed in California, she sanctioned them for lying on an affidavit and established jurisdiction. And once we got jurisdiction, we were on our way, and that was a real challenging case. To go to the legislature and get them to amend the statute of limitations just for these cases to another 10 years was a real trip. So without going on much longer, because I'm getting kind of old. But I'm still enjoying the practice of law. I have great lawyers like Ricardo and Mike Bedard, and my other lawyers that are here, Christine Hobbs, Travis Corby, Cooper, Lee Ray, Chris Denica. I appreciate all lawyers, and I've heard some great speeches tonight from great lawyers. This community should be very proud of itself for the lawyers it's produced and the good work it does. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
All right, it's intermission. In our final award presentation tonight, the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award. This year's recipient is Marbi Burnette. Marbi. Damn, girl. The Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award is given each year to a local lawyer who demonstrates the finest qualities of our profession. Such qualities include what was stated by Judge Charles W. McCoy. He referred to them as the 5 C's: candor, compassion, civility, courage, and competence. Marbi, throughout her career, always was candid, especially telling me no a lot of times on cases. I got your guy. More compassionate than most people know. I cannot tell you how many of clients of mine and other lawyers I know, when given a mitigation package to Marbi, which could have went either way, and she erred on the side of giving hope to someone who made a mistake, and changed their lives forever. They kept jobs, they kept their families, they kept their homes. A true deputy DA seeking justice. Civility goes without saying. She's a great lady. Courage. Sometimes waking up on Monday morning going to see 175 files on the pretrial calendar takes some courage. It certainly takes fortitude. I cannot think of a more worthy person than Marbi for this award. At this time, I'm going to ask Supervisor Kurt to come up again, and then our mayor, San Bernardino. Then we'll bring Joe Gaetano up after that. We'll get him from the cheap seats back there.
Wow, this is really a pleasure because I know Marbi represents a department that really does serve our residents of San Bernardino County, and to have you named Attorney of the Year is just that awesome. I know all my attorneys in Jason's department and our public defender's agency does a fantastic job, but to have the top caliber working for the county is such a great honor for us to say today. So we're very fortunate, San Bernardino County is very fortunate to have a citizen of the caliber of Marbi Burnette, whose efforts reflect the high ideals and public leadership and public service. Marbi started work with the Office of District Attorney in 1988, and she remained there for 33 years. She was the senior misdemeanor pretrial deputy for over 15 years in Rancho Cucamonga Division. She retired from the Office of District Attorney in August 2021. I'm wondering why we didn't have you up to our board meeting, but we'll have to work on that. The Board of Supervisors of San Bernardino County recognizes and commends Marbi Burnette for being named Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year, recipient of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. Thank you for your 33 years of service to the residents of San Bernardino County, and congratulations on your honor of being named Lawyer of the Year.
Stay up there too, Marbi. More to come.
I was going to have one for Dennis Michael here too, but the county is much better. Full board service.
At this time, I would ask Mayor John Valdivia to come up from the City of San Bernardino. John?
Well, it's exciting once again to present this award on behalf of the City of San Bernardino. What exciting stories I'm hearing. Ricardo, that was fabulous. Mr. Shernoff, that's a fantastic work. And I'm always amazed, and as I'm sitting there reflecting on the profession of law, I'm just really encouraged here. We have some phenomenal folks, don't we? And so on behalf of the City of San Bernardino, as a resolution of merit, on behalf of the great work that Marbi Burnette has done, the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award, recipient of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association's, congratulations to you, ma'am.
Before we have Joe Gaetano come up, oh, actually, Stephen Weaver is going to be up next. I apologize. And then it'll be Joe. Before Stephen comes up, I would just like to make a little point of personal indulgence if I can. So Marbi is this year's winner of Jennifer Brooks Award. Jennifer was a deputy DA. There's some new faces in the crowd, maybe not know that, who passed away tragically in a traffic collision on Green Spot Road in San Bernardino County, which is definitely a dangerous condition of public property at the time. Just saying. And last year's winner is here, so that was easy. And the year before that, and this is the personal indulgence, is my wonderful sister-in-law, also a great deputy district attorney, two of the most powerful women I've ever met, Michelle Daly. Also, both Michelle and Marbi were mentors to Jennifer Brooks, so it's a really kind of close knit family. So thank you. With that, Stephen Weaver.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have to treat you like my jury. What can I say about Marbi? When I first came to the office, it was December 2014. I worked in LA for 6 years, went back home to Missouri. My mom got sick, my mom passed. So when I moved to Rancho, and when they first hired me, I had to do misdemeanors. Even though I had all this experience, I had to show them 4 not guilties and all that, right? So I'm dealing with Marbi. And the thing about Marbi is real. And that's what I loved about Marbi. That's what I love about Marbi. We could talk about anything. I call her Mother Marbi. And I hope she refers to me as a son that she never had. Some cases, well, the son that she doesn't have. certain cases we talk about, I'd be like, Marbi, please. The thing about me is I'm not too proud to beg. I'd be like, Marbi, please, come on, what you need? He'll do this, he'll do that, he'll go here, he'll go that. And then she'd be like, yeah, well, I need this and this and this. And I'd be like, all right, fine. But the thing that I loved about it was we could talk. Me being a public defender, her being a prosecutor, we could actually have conversation. And we could actually talk about the cases. And if we didn't agree, it was okay. We served for trial. But a lot of the BS, we were able to get rid of. And I just wish that was still there. But I love her so much. I'm so glad that she got this reward. And everybody doesn't want me to say anything crazy. Because I'm on the murder team, I'm a public defender. Me and DAs, we don't necessarily get along. I don't like most of y'all. It's just what it is. I love me some Marbi. I was so honored when she asked me to say some words, and those are the words I would say. She's such a kind-hearted person, and she was just real, and she was really about truth and justice. And for that, I'm so glad she got this reward. And the only thing that I will say, it's a shame she never was a supervisor.
Well, I'm certainly glad to be Marbi's white uncle. At this time, it's a pleasure, a true pleasure. Joseph's a great guy, great lawyer, great deputy, great supervisor. Joe Gaetano, come on up. Fellow Paisan.
I'm Joe Gaetano. I'm with the District Attorney's Office. And I think we all knew that Marbi could do miracles. And I think we all got to witness one tonight because I have never agreed with anything Stephen Weber has ever said. I'd also like to thank Mike for stealing my line about how wonderful Jason Anderson is, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I know what you're all thinking, why is he putting glasses on, but I've been told I look like The Rock when I put the glasses on. So. I know, uncanny, right? It is my great pleasure to be able to speak to you tonight about Marbi Burnette, and I'm humbled that someone like Marbi, who I've admired for 32 years, would ask me to speak tonight. I'm not sure I can do her justice to explain just who Marbi Burnette is in a few minutes. I will do my best, and I'm going to try to hit the high points. Anybody who's worked with Marbi Burnette or alongside Marbi Burnette has learned certain things. I'd like to just kind of talk about the things that Marbi has imparted on all of us. One, communication. I think Steve touched upon the fact about her communication skills because Marbi had an uncanny way of listening to defense attorneys and then telling them they were full of BS when they finished talking to them. And somehow they would walk away feeling really good about it. In fact, the next time they came to court with their cases, they would ask to speak to her, specifically have her handle those cases. The next thing Marbi taught us was that speed kills. Take your time, be thorough. Nothing good comes from being in a hurry. Justice is not in a hurry. Get it done and get it correct, not fast. Work hours. Work hours were merely a suggestion to Marbi. As you could tell, she was about a half hour late coming here, and that's pretty much the way she came to work. She would remind us, remember, justice is not in a hurry, and neither is she. Technology. Marbi and technology. I'm still waiting for her to return some emails I sent back in 2007. But Marbi taught us that computers could never replace people in our profession. Justice is human, and therefore being a lawyer requires humans. It requires humans with hearts, minds, and souls. Computers could never dispense justice, only humans could. Marbi was effective because she did not practice law behind a computer. If you sent her an email, she was not going to respond to it. You were going to have to come into that pretrial room and speak to her face to face. She practiced law the way it was supposed to be practiced on a human level. And then she taught us to leave a mark. Not the kind from a fight, but to leave your mark. And she left a mark on all of us that worked with her. She left a mark of professionalism. She left a mark of a sense of fairness. She left a mark of friendship. And she left a mark of wisdom. Every person she encountered, she touched them with her heart. Marbi made sure that no matter who you were, you knew she cared. Now, I want to apologize because I don't think I adequately described Marbi Burnette, what she's meant to the district attorney's office and to the legal profession. So I'm going to leave you with the words I first wrote down when Marbi asked me to come up and speak. The first words I wrote were, "For those who know Marbi Burnette, no explanation is necessary. For those who do not know Marbi Burnette, no explanation will suffice." Congratulations, Marbi, on a well-deserved award, and we are very, very proud of you.
Oh, it's hard to beat those remarks about myself. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to the Western Bar Association. I had no idea that I had been nominated for this award, and it is indeed humbling, and I thank all of you who voted for me. I would like to acknowledge whoever the competitors were. I'm sure that you were just as worthy as I am. But this year it was my turn. As I look across the room, I see so many people who have contributed to me getting this award. You all have made me who I am. When I joined the district attorney's office 33 years ago, I was not compassionate. I may have been candid, but anyway, I have seen my personality, I saw my personality grow over the years. Being a girl from the South, moving out here to California with my parents, and subsequently going to law school. When I joined the DA's office, I was the only African American in the West End. Actually, there were only two of us in the entire county. That was Jim Hill and myself. So it was pretty daunting to come to work and not see anybody who looked like you throughout the day, or anybody in the courtroom particularly. But all of you embraced me for what I was and what I am, and that's why I say you have contributed to every fiber in my being that qualified me to stand here before you today and be as a recipient of the Jennifer Brooks Award. Jennifer, if you knew her, when they told me that I had won this, I thought, I am not like Jennifer. Jennifer was so kind and sweet that I didn't see myself as that. I remember the last conversation I had with her the day before the tragic accident that Scafidi spoke about. We were in the bathroom, it was probably about 4:45, and we were sitting at the sink washing our hands, and Jennifer liked The Bachelor. And I wasn't a fan of that show. I had not really watched it, but every following day of the show, Jennifer would come in and she'd be so excited talking about what happened. So I thought, well, I'm going to start watching this too, because I didn't have much conversation. I couldn't carry much conversation with her about it. So we were standing at the bathroom sink, washing our hands, and talking about the day and the show. And I remember we both said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, that particular tomorrow never came, because the next day, Jennifer left us in a tragic accident. So as I thought about her, what qualified me to receive this award in her honor, in her name, you know, to carry on her legacy, first of all, I know that she, as well as I do, would say that all of you deserve credit for me being here. I didn't get here by myself. Every Batman has Robin. Every leading lady has a support crew. And I see so many of my support people here now that you're just a reflection of what my career has been. From the support staff, the victim witness people, the secretaries, the clerical staff. Where's Ernie? My pre-trial people. I could not get my job done without my pre-trial staff. I started out with Francis, who moved to Florida, and then I got Monica, and then Rashi. And when Rashi was transferred to a different department, and by this time they started letting me pick, because if they put somebody in there, the candidness will come out. And the calendar is so big. What was it, said 175 calls a day? That's an approximate number. So 125 would be a good day for us. So I work really fast, and I have a tendency to not be as polite as what I should at times, because we're in such a hurry. So when they said, they finally started letting me pick who I wanted to work with me, and my last clerk was Ernie. And I remember when I picked Ernie, Ernie said, no, I'm not coming down there, I've heard your meat. So I said, just give it a try, 2 weeks. I thought, Ernie, what do you want to be in the office with all these women for all day? You could be hanging out with me. So he came, and I couldn't get rid of him. And then for a while, we did the calendar by ourselves, and then I got some pretrial partners, my partners in crime, Linda and Kelly, and that was a blast. I enjoyed working with them as much as I did working with Ernie. My other support staff, management of course, John Coaches, he's here somewhere. I don't have my glasses on so I can't see you, John, but anyway, John was my chief. And I remember John saying to me one time, he goes, do you ever stay in your office? Because after the calendar, I still would come back to the office. I like being out, walking around, talking to people, seeing what people need, how can I help? I go to the courtrooms. That was just how I practiced law. Gaetano was right, the computer was not for me. Send me an email, like, don't send me no email. You want something, you know where I am. Don't send me no email. Don't leave me no voicemail. Don't do none of that. You want to talk to me? Either tell somebody to come get me, or you come track me down. Everybody had my cell phone number. I would respond to a text, but that was about it. So because my office would be empty so much, John Coaches would say, I'm going to charge rent. I'm going to rent your office out. And the DA's office can make some money because you're never in there. I don't know if you ever did that or not. Jason, you might want to look into that. Well, anyway, and speaking of Jason, when he became DA, he was another one who kind of just said, just do your thing. You know, and I would say not just for me, but probably for everybody who reaches this level of seniority in the office. It's hard to corral some people in, so I'm kind of a hard person to corral in. So Jason would just say, just do whatever you do, take care of your business, take care of the county's business, the office business, and have a good time. So that was kind of how I worked. And then all of my friends in the office, Michelle, dubbed me the queen of pretrial. She gave me a license plate for at the time I had a pretrial card, so she gave me a license plate that says queen of pretrials. And then because of my candidness, she dubbed me the Steel Magnolia. That's coming from the South. The defense bar, all of you have been great to me. Newman, Goldstein, Morales, everybody, JC, Nicola. I hate calling names because you always leave somebody out, and I don't want to leave anybody out. But all of you just embraced me. I couldn't come to work without butting into somebody in the parking lot or the back door, wherever it was, without being greeted every day with hugs and kisses, you guys. And you think that that's contrary to what we do, but it's really that heart and the compassion of who we are that brings out that in us. And as Stephen said, when you can work together from opposite sides and you can develop that kind of a friendship and relationship to where you truly care about other people, then you can do the work of lawyering. Then you can be fair. You can, because you have another perspective. You get to see people as human beings and not just a file or a case number. So that's how I kind of the judges, I know it was running late, but all the judges, everybody just took to me like I took to them. I remember one time walking into Judge Savage's courtroom, and we've done pre-trials differently over the years from where we started out doing it, but Judge Savage one time was doing the pre-trial calendar by herself, and she would need something, so somebody from her staff would call the pre-trial room, and I'd get up to go to the courtroom, and I would be so comfortable with her, not just her, but all the judges, and I just walk in and I just walk up to the bench. And I remember one day the bailiff jumped up to stop me, and I kept pointing. I didn't know what he was doing. I'm like, what? And so Judge Savage goes, you just think you're what Michelle says, queen of pretrials. You just traipse on in here, don't come up to the bench, don't stop and ask anybody to be out of approach. But again, that's how I work. With 175 files, I don't have time for protocol. We got to go home at some point. Judge Rogan, Judge Perosi, the same thing. I walk into his courtroom and he see me coming and he goes, just come on up. I know you're coming anyway, just come on. So I go up, we negotiate at the bench with the defense counsel, we get things done, and that was how I like to practice law. Judge Euler, during the pandemic, we worked outside doing the pretrial calendar, and I learned even just a lot from her from being outside, with the atmosphere being a little bit more casual. So I learned just along the way just how to treat people, even criminal defendants. You know, you come in with one idea and you leave with another, and everybody has a redeeming quality. There's a story, a brief story I'm going to leave you with. It's Hosea and Gomer. Some of you may be familiar with it. But anyway, Gomer was the wife. She was a prostitute. And Hosea was instructed by God to marry Gomer. And when God told him this, he had no idea why God would tell him to marry such a woman. But following instructions, he did. And Gomer was faithful for a while, but then she went back into her old ways. And she eventually ended up being put on the auction block, sold into slavery. Well, the person who bought her was Hosea. He purchased his own wife. And the principle behind that story is, even though she was unfaithful to him and probably not worth much in anybody else's eyes, he loved her and he had compassion in his heart for her. So he brought her back. He purchased her for himself. So the principle of that story is, no matter how unworthy you think somebody is of your grace and your mercy, everybody has a redeeming quality. And that's how I handle pre-trials. Everybody has something that they can give back to society. Everybody should not just be thrown away because they're inside of a file with a number on the front of it. You may have to dig deep to find it. You may have to give them a second and third, fourth chance even, but you have to temper the judgment with mercy and grace. And not everybody deserves the same grace and the same mercy, so you have to look at each case individually. So to do that and to still do the county's business, that was my main goal, was to do the county's business, to follow the policies of the DA's office, but know how to work within the parameters and come up with something creative to keep people's lives intact, to give them hope, to give them a reason to leave and go out and do the right thing for themselves. And if we can reach, if each one of us can reach one person like that, we can change the world. I'm a firm believer. So again, going back to Jennifer, when I thought about her, I thought, okay, Jennifer was respectful. I try to be respectful. The difference between me and Jennifer is that I'm respectful with some resistance. Jennifer was not resistant. Jennifer was devoted to her work. I'm devoted, but I'm daring. Talk about those office policies sometimes. I'm like, okay, let me fudge a little bit. Let me hope Jason doesn't find out. But then I go, hey, Jason, I had a case on today. That's what I did. Because I was of the belief that you tell on yourself before anybody else can do it. Jennifer was patient. I was patient, but on the other side, on the flip side of that coin, I said, I ain't got time for this. That's what I pop off. Let's go. Jennifer was benevolent. I'm benevolent, but Jennifer wasn't bossy. I'm kind of bossy. But all that being said, I thank you guys, every one of you who voted for me. I thank you for coming out to support me, to see me get this award. I received so many phone calls, text messages, probably some emails that I have. But anyway, I just want to thank all of you for your support and your love, your support, your generosity for everything. And I hope that, is Mrs. Brooks here and Shar? They couldn't make it? Okay. I would not dare leave this platform without sending words to them. So since they're not here, I'm going to end my speech. I will tell you that I had a sign in my office for the entire time that I was in the DA's office, which I followed. I'll pass those words along to you. Maybe it will help you at some point if you want to use them, but it was, it said, walk humbly, seek justice, and do good. And that's what we're here for, to do good.
And so Will Wooden's still here. Where's Will? I'll give you 4 minutes, buddy. That actually concludes our program. But before everyone leaves, a couple announcements, and there's some surprises. If you check underneath your chair when I'm done, if there's an envelope to the bottom, you can be a winner of the table centerpiece and the recipient of a 1-year free membership to the Western Civic County Bar, 2 free tickets to our holiday party, or a swag bag. You'll see Lindsay to get your bag. Take a look at that. Our holiday party is December 3rd. Holiday party in Sparks of Love Drive at Ricardo Echeverria's house. It's going to be a great time.